Hello, welcome to episode 1 of the Church Launch podcast. I just want to take a minute to tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about the podcast and what we're doing here. My name's Brian, and I'll be your host on the Church Launch podcast. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and now reside in Charlotte, North Carolina with my wife and beautiful 4 children. 4 beautiful children. I wear a lot of hats, literally speaking, so I do have hair, but usually I cover it up just because it's easier that way, and that's just how I roll. Less to think about, less to do. I'm also full of dad jokes, so just roll your eyes and go with it like my kids do, although usually I get called out for terrible dad jokes. So you can call them out in the comments, but everyone else is rolling their eyes with you. At age 16, I felt a calling on my life to full-time ministry. Had no idea what that looked like, had no idea what God had in store. Didn't know if I would be living in an orphanage in Uganda or if I would be a pastor at some church in the burbs. Yet here I am doing neither of those things. My first job in ministry was at Elevation Church. I was there for 9 years as the director of production technologies. So I oversaw all of our audio and video and the lighting systems and teams. I got to design the systems that went into most of the campuses and got to work alongside the staff as we equipped for campus lunches and big events. I got to tour for a little bit with Elevation Worship, running sound and managing production. So that was fun, but also not something I care to do again. When I left Elevation 4 years ago, I felt a calling on my life at that point to just go and help other churches, that God had used me there to do what he had called me to do at Elevation, and he had equipped me with something that I could take and help other churches grow their ministries and their reach with. And so I left, and now that's what I do. I come alongside churches and help them through whether it's building projects or small system upgrades, or just coming in to help train their teams and equip their teams for ministry through technology. I get to help all sorts of churches all over the country, and I truly enjoy it. I enjoy the variety. I enjoy just different workflows and seeing how different churches function. But in that experience, I've realized that there's several different methodologies that churches will use when it comes to launching a new initiative or a new campus, or even launching a church in general. Sometimes it's like a Hail Mary. Let's just throw it all out there and put as much effort into it as we can, and God will use it, and he does. And sometimes churches have like a trusted partner, whether it's an architect or an owner's representative or someone in the church who's part of the board of overseers or whatever structure your church has that you lean on, that's able to help guide you through those processes and through, again, whether it's a capital campaign or a building project, or even just, hey, it's Christmas. What are we going to do to spice things up and make people feel welcome as they come in? And every church seems to have a different way of doing it. And I think there's things that every church can learn from the other churches who are doing it a different way. And so the goal of this podcast is to expose churches to what other churches are doing and how they're doing it, to expose churches to some of the resources that are out there to help equip them and help guide them through some of these projects and these processes. We'll be hearing from a lot of different pastors who have launched churches. We'll be hearing, some of the things they did they wish they hadn't done, some of the things they would do differently, and some of the things that they did that, God really used to help set them up for growth and for success in that regard. And then we'll also be hearing from different vendors and companies that service churches in the space. Again, architects, general contractors, owners' representatives, even some accountants, on the accounting side of things, which is important as we're handling God's money, and then also on the legal side of things, like how you're your church is set up, the structure, the legal structure, all the nuances there that are important, but it's also one of those things you don't really want to have to think about it. You just want to do ministry, but someone's got to think about it. So all those things, the full gamut, anything that could apply to launching a church, growing a church, launching ministries, initiatives, a whole spread of stuff. So there'll be a lot of variety. There might be some repetition because perhaps a lot of pastors think the same and kind of do the same things. But in any case, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. That way, as I update this, should be once a week. We'll be releasing a new interview, maybe twice a week if I really get some momentum and be able to churn these things out. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I run out of words pretty quick every day. So if I do more than one of these a day, or maybe even every other day, I might run out of words, and then I just kind of shut down and lose my train of thought, and it's not good. So what was I saying? See, dad joke. Anyways, take a minute, hit the subscribe button. It's one click, and then that'll keep you up to date on what's going on. There's also a website, churchlaunchpodcast.com. I'll be posting notes from each podcast, and then also probably some other stuff, resources as they come up. I'll post them on there. On the website, there's a button at the top to join the Discord. We're not gaming. We're not playing Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever the youths are doing these days. We are just building community and helping hold each other up, helping answer questions, helping guide each other through the processes. It will be moderated to make sure that nothing crazy is going on, but we're all adults, right? So hopefully we can kind of self-manage, and that'll be a good resource and good community for people. And there's also a Facebook page group that you can get to through the website or through the show notes, whichever one kind of naturally grows faster and people gravitate towards. I'll probably close the other one and we'll focus on that. But for now, I want to open up every platform and just kind of see what happens. Back to that Hail Mary method. We'll just kind of see where the people go. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to hear me out and hear what I'm about, hear what this podcast is about, and hear just what to expect as this thing kind of takes off and launches. And this has been episode 1 of the Church Launch Podcast. So I'll see you again Monday for the first real episode. So maybe this is episode 0.5 or and then that'll be episode 1. Yes, so there's that. This is episode half. So thank you for joining me for episode half, and I'll see you again Monday for episode 1.